Some weeks ago I made this machine and all you cared about were these freaking sprayers. So in this video I'm gonna show you 4 different ways to make an automatic sprayer mechanism. I was also told that maybe there should be a bit more of a fun factor to it than just something useful like WD-40. So bring in the silly string. Before we get to the silly string, I first want to show you something else. This is the exact model that I used on my machine, this one. And if you remember from the video, it worked, but it was not always super reliable. That's because the solenoid is just barely strong enough to pull it down. Actually, it's a 12 volt solenoid and it only works if you put 24 volts on it, which works for a short amount of time. I want to improve that. Look, it works, but I was thinking pneumatics. So I have this little pneumatic cylinder that I'm gonna put over here on a similar mount that I've printed. Here it is. It's this mount, same type of bottle, over here. So that's fairly straightforward. Only thing I need to do is I need to make a connection point between here and the piece of string. I'm thinking to make something little on the lathe. Right now I have it on an electronic valve, but if you push the button it switches as well. Or you just give a 12 volt signal and it switches. You can also use a manual switch, a foot switch, any other pneumatic switch. And this is a lot stronger than the solenoid. The 2 versions that I have now are the original solenoid version. That one works. And the pneumatic version, if it works on this one as well. Enough WD-40 for now, let's move on to the real fun. Silly string. These silly string bottles are a lot different than the big WD-40 bottles. So for this I need to make a new sprayer. Let's move to the computer to make a new design. But before I go there, I need to make a picture and take some measurements from this so I know exactly how to design the sprayer. When you have the picture made, open Fusion 360 and draw a line that has the same length as your measured dimension. Import the picture and scale it up to the line that you have drawn. Now we have this, we can design the clamp and take all other measurements from the contour in the picture. The clamp design should click on easily but also hold on firmly. And this often takes a couple of tries to get it right. When I have the clamp done, it's time to design the lever mechanism, and I want this one to be with the solenoid. From the previous one I made to the solenoid, I learned that you don't want to pull the shaft at an angle, because then it binds up. So on this one I'm using a bit of wire to connect the lever to the solenoid. Let's print it and see if it works. Here we go, the mount and the lever. Let's see if we can get this to work. It snaps on just as nice. That works. The solenoid is almost just as heavy as the can. I needed to add this zip tie here to prevent the solenoid from pushing itself out, because otherwise, yeah, it would just push itself down instead of the lever up. So let's see if it works. It almost works. If this pushes up, this pushes down. That's really nice, and that would work if this would grip on really tight. somehow. but it doesn't grip on tight. This is a little bit of play, actually pushing itself up, and then it doesn't work. So I think I'm gonna live with the play and just make this distance a little bit larger. Since this has thread on it, I think I can just remove the nut and put something else there. So here's the case. This one works really well and this one doesn't work so well. I thought it was because this was a little bit too low, and if I would just extend this it would work, because this was sliding up and down a bit. But in reality, if I make this longer, yes, it has the potential to push it even if it moves up, but it's just way too heavy for the solenoid to do it, even though I can do it. And I'll explain you why. On this one, the distance from this to the bottom, the hinging point to the button, is really small, while this distance is really large. So you have a really long arm to push a little bit, making it really strong. On this one, the arm from here to here is only a little bit smaller than the arm from here to here. So basically all the force you need here is the force you need to push here. I would either need a stronger solenoid, maybe a pneumatic cylinder, or change this with the arm. But I think this on the back, it's just a better design. It's a little bit easier, less complex, and you don't lose so much energy with the connection here. So we're skipping this. I think this is the way to go. But I have one more. Let's go to the printer. I'm gonna use a motor. So I've used pneumatics, I've used solenoids, but you can also use a motor to push something. So I made a clip with a motor mount, a little cam shape to actually generate the linear motion. This goes on here. And this goes on here. And this is actually the pusher mechanism again. So let's see if the motor is stronger than the solenoid and if it works with the motor. Doesn't push far enough. Same problem. Can we change this? This one did not work. The lever here was too high to press the actual button, and this has too much play. So, but I still think I can make this work. So here is version 2. The other thing is this cam mechanism, compared to the other one, which just launched through my workshop and I cannot find it anymore. This is a little bit larger, so it pushes this thing down a little bit further. Let's try it. Let's try this. It is everywhere. There's a lot here, and I think you've never seen a lathe with silly string on it. This thing deserves some close-up shots, so new pen. In case you wondered, this is about the amount that goes in one can, with just a tiny bit over there, but it was mostly done when I turned it. Quick recap of everything that I've tested before people start accusing me of having fun instead of it being real science. So starting with the big ones. For the big ones I made two versions. The original one, solenoid is missing at the moment, but that doesn't matter. And the one with the air cylinder. And this one worked, but it was not reliable enough because the solenoid was just not strong enough. If you would get a stronger solenoid, this one would work fine. And it's really easy to control. You just put some power on it and it works. With this one, it's just a lot stronger than the solenoid. But the downside is that you need an air supply. So you need compressed air and a source to switches. That could be the compressed air, that could be by hand or electronically with the switch that I had. But if you want a reliable solution that's super strong, use this air cylinder. And it looks a lot cooler as well. I like pneumatics. Over to the small ones. For the small ones I made 3 versions. I started with this one, which is basically the same mechanism as I used on the big can. Just a solenoid that pulls this down and then sprays. Works really well and it's easy to control. When you put power on it, it sprays. When you release the power, it releases. Then I made this one. This one, same idea, but then the idea was to push the button down. Didn't really work. There was a lot of play in here. And if I hold it so there's no play, the solenoid is not strong enough. This though could work when you use an air cylinder like I used on the big one, or a stronger solenoid, but in this case it wasn't really worth it for me to do it this way if this works already fine. So this one doesn't work. And then the third one with the motor. I think this is the most fun one because it just sprays a lot, but it's not really easy to control. When you turn it off at the wrong moment, the thing keeps pressing the button down until the can is empty, and yeah, you cannot really control what it sprays. But anyhow, I think this is the most fun one. So let's have some more fun with it. It went a bit quicker than intended. I accidentally hit the power on the motor and it wouldn't stop. See, that's the problem with this thing. When the cam is in this position, pushing down, and the motor stops, you cannot really start it. The motor does not have enough power to keep going from there. Maybe some spray in between, but otherwise it's good. If it has the motion, it just keeps going. So let's see how long it takes when it keeps going till it's fully empty, instead of just going all in one go like this. Let's reset it. If you want to see more design experiment videos like this, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, check out the video over there because I'm sure you will like that one as well. And don't forget, dare to experiment and have fun creating. What have I done? Why do I do this to myself? Who's here when I need to clean up? No one.